Hey people, word is that the World Health Organization is trying to kill most of the world's population to get us into perpetual balance with nature. And I think what they're just trying to do is wake us up, and nobody seems to be waking up. So this should be a huge wake up. But if you study the ancient Sumerian tablets, you don't have to study. All you have to do is give it a read, or you can find the movie and listen to it. But this is Enlil and Enki, and they're representing the fire, the water, earth, air, and ether. And you notice that she's only got one leg here. This is her other leg over here. And this symbol they say means the ruler, the king. So the story goes that Enki was the older, and he thought he deserved the rulership of earth. But the father had gave the earth to his half-brother Enlil, and Enki was rule over the water. And so Enki was the creator. He's the one that got here first and created man and everything. And you can see it in the Hebrew Bible when it says, "I am the God of your father." The word is Enki, A-N-K-I, A-N-K-I, Enki. And you'll see that many places as I, and several times as I am. You see it here in Genesis 24:43. "Behold, I stand by the well of water, Anki, and it shall come to pass that when the virgin comes out to draw water, and I say to her, 'Give me to drink, please, a little water from your jar,' I stand by the well of water. And when the virgin comes out." So this virgin, she ain't got but one leg. And so way back then, there was no Libra. It was actually a bird stealing. Batul was the virgin. Batula in the tool. She had the stuff. But she's representing three positions here. She was representing the Libra and the Virgin and Leo. You can see she's holding the corn of the Virgin, missing the leg of Libra, and around her neck here she's got this sign of Leo. So all these gods represent many things. So the story goes that Enki had spilled his seed into the humans, and they now shared blood with the gods. And Enlil didn't like that. He didn't want to share blood with the humans. And he put together an army to go out and kill the seed of Enki. So here's a clue to who that is. This old Enki here, this is where your word honky come from. So here's a clue as to who's who today. This is the book of Exodus in the Hebrew, and it says to the old smut. This is smut, S-M-U-T. You can see it here. The book of Exodus is called the smut, S-M-U-T. To old smut bang his roll. And so you'll see the title to this chapter is called "The Israelites Multiply in Egypt." And that's hidden in this word Exodus. And this is that same chapter in the Greek, and it says Israel multiplies. So in this Hebrew, this reads, to old smut bang his roll. The bays mix rhyme to joke in see, to in it to bow, to in it to bow. And so this word for Egypt here, this mix rhyme, it's not used often. And this time it's usually rise, from its rise. But this one ends with the E, and it makes this the M, the rhyme. It only comes up 15 times out of this 614, and then there's another, I think another 90 or so that are close to this, given another, these 97 more times it ends with the M, and it's given the meaning of Egypt, BMXRIM, and this final M is pronounced as a S. That's why it's plural in the mixed rise. So what this is saying is the bays M from cross X, MX, from cross rhyme. And you've heard of the river Rhine. Well, that's nowhere near Egypt. That's up in England. But if you Google it, you'll find the river Rhine in this one place here. And it's talking about the low poetry, the low countries. And they are yet more vulgar. That must be the two vulgates, or the three vulgates, the Greek and the Hebrew. When it talks about the river of rhyme, the bend, the river of rhyme, there is another called reason. These two rivers are distant enough from one another, and there can be no communication between them, but by channels, which require a very great labor. Neither can they be made everywhere, for only one end of the river of rhyme answers to that of reason. So what it's saying is, these are books of poetry. And the first half is reason, and the second half is rhyme. And they don't translate. They were both originally written in English. We can read them both. But once you take the rhyme out of it, people don't understand what the book is about. And they've turned the rhyme into the reason. And they have turned the reason into trash. And so I'm not the only person that says this. You'll find it here in this Hore Lyrica, a book of poems, was written in 10, 15, 17, 56, 70, 85, and 1788. And he understood all the languages. You see several of them here, but most of it's in old English. You can see it here at the beginning of the preface that it's been long a complaint of the virtuous and refined world that poetry, whose original is divine, should be enslaved to vice and profaneness, that an art inspired from heaven should have so far lost the memory of its birthplace. And a couple pages down, he says, but some of the later poets of the pagan world have debased this divine gift, and many of the writers of the first rank in this our age of national Christians have to their eternal shame surpassed the vilest of the Gentiles. They have not only disrobed religion of all her ornaments in verse, but have employed their pens in impious mischief to deform her native beauty and defile her honors. They've exposed her most sacred character to drudgery and dressed her up in a most vile and ridiculous disguise for the scorn of the rudder herd of mankind. They created all this hoopla to rudder the herd, to put mask on the sheep. So this book was outlawed for a long time. So the word, according to King James 37:3, Genesis, now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age. That would make him his youngest son. And he made him a coat of many colors. And so they say he was younger and the brothers picked on him. So yeah, you put a colorful coat on your kids so you can keep an eye on them. You don't lose them. Put a colorful swimsuit on them when you take them to the beach, and you won't lose them out there. So I had pulled this Exodus 1, the Greek, off and lined it up so you could see the poetry in it. So the first thing you do is you break this Exodus down with the Septuagint code, the separate to agent. You take these last two letters and you put them on the front. And being that there's a capital in here, you leave them on this end. If it wasn't, you leave them off. But it's to sex add us. And that's what it means by Israel multiplies. And so this poem goes, to tada on a matter, to tune vion. To tada on a matter, to write about this matter. The tune vion, like via is by the way of, by the way on. To tada this matter, to tada on the matter, the tune vion. His rule tune, this paper to men on, to write this for men, this paper. This age to put on, amma, joke in to papi, to patri, the mama. This is word for mother, amma, in the Hebrew. Mother, joke in to patri. What on the cast as the parakeet? If you want a movie, you have a cast. The Pirates of the Caribbean, this is your cast. You got Johnny and you got Joseph, the parakeet. A coat of many colors. These old parakeets come in many colors. Tada on a matter, the tune vion, by way of the tune. His rule tune, this paper to men on. This age to put on, mother joke in to patri. What on the castos, parakeet? Why is there a parakeet in the cast? What on this, what on they shout? They shout to sun. What on they shout to sun? And so what you have here is you have a book of the moon is the Hebrew, the waters, and the book of the sun is the Greek. And they're two opposing books. And so these people that they're claiming to be the Jews now, that's not the Jews. The real Jews could read this, and that was your Irishman. You see here, this says Thomas, Tawmis, Thomas, the twins, with his curly red hair. Everybody here got this curly red hair. You see here in the fist, QST, in the fist. That's the word they give for the bow. But it means whatever's in the fist. And so they set these people up to think they're Jews now, and they can't even read this. They create a fake language for them. And they don't read the biblical Hebrew. They made them a new Bible because they don't want anybody to know how to read this. But the people that could read it were Irish. And that'd be your real Jews. That's why they were treated the same as blacks. They were slaves. And that was Enlil trying to destroy the seed of Enki. You can see it here in this word for Jerusalem. I-R-U-S-H. Shen. Irish. Lamb. You see the dot over the S there, just pronounced sh, S-H. The Irish lamb, the young Irish. And so they've been enslaved and killed. They've been trying to get rid of them ever since. But that was the first slaves in America. All right, good day.